All right, we'll call this meeting to order. Everybody stand. Jody, will you lead us in prayer, please?
Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for the many wonderful blessings that you bestowed upon us today. We thank you for the freedom that we have, Lord, to come together and try to serve our community. I pray, God, that you keep your hand over our county, help our decisions we make be pleasing to you. That's in your name.
Amen. Thank you for your leaders in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Give me a roll call, please.
Earl Cox,
Here.
Don Flatford, Kenny Hill, Janet Holloway. Here. Larry Love,
Here.
Becky Muncy,
Here.
Jody Smith.
Here.
We have it quorum.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. This meeting was supposed to go over the budgets and pass them if this committee desires. We'll not have maybe a presentation too from the auditors, which they'll be called on, but we'll go over the budgets and approve them if we can. I want to again thank everybody for coming out tonight. All right, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Janet, second. Aye vote, please. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Ayes have it. Budget amendments and transfers.
Starting on page 1 of 9, 1 and 2 are all general fund 101. Basically entering into the budget $25,000 from restricted funds into the jail budget and $1,000 from the SOR restricted funds into that budget. And increasing our local option sales tax by $15,000 since it has increased since the beginning of this year. And the rest is moving budget around within the budget.
Need a motion approved.
Make a motion.
Motion by Janet, second.
Second.
Second by Becky. Any discussion? Questions? Give me a roll call, please.
Earl Cox,
Is this new money or just amendments?
This is just amendments to 101.
Paul?
Janet Holloway,
Four.
Larry Love,
Or
Becky Muncy,
Four.
Jody Smith.
Four.
Motion passes.
Top of page 3 of 9 is Fund 118, ambulance service, moving monies around in the appropriated budget.
motion approved.
So moved.
So moved. Joe Smith, second.
Second.
Second by Earl. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Earl Cox,
Four.
Janet Holloway. Four. Larry Love,
Or
Becky Muncy,
Four.
Jody Smith.
Four.
Motion passes.
Bottom of page 3 of 9 is Fund 122, the drug fund, entering into the budget revenues received from asset forfeitures, and then moving around within the budget as requested.
need a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Janet, second. Second by Jody. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Earl Cox,
Four.
Janet Holloway. Four. Larry Love,
Or
Becky Muncy,
Four.
Jody Smith.
Four.
Motion passes.
mayor's report.
No, we still got a few more there.
Ever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Top of page 4 of 9 is Fund 171, capital projects, moving funding around within the DAG grant as needed.
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion by Janet, second.
Second.
Give me a roll call.
Earl Cox,
Four.
Janet Holloway,
Four.
Larry Love,
Or
Becky Muncy,
Four.
Jody Smith.
Four.
Motion passes.
Bottom of page 4 of 9, moving money around within that appropriated budget, and this is related to the farmer's market.
So moved.
got a motion by Jody, need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Give me a roll call.
Earl Cox,
For.
Janet Holloway. Four. Larry Bud.
Or,
Becky Lindsay.
Four.
Jody Smith.
Four.
Motion passes.
Pages 5 through 8 are all Fund 141. Page 5 and 6 is just moving monies around within the appropriated budget and entering into the budget revenue received from Walter State Community College for dual enrollment. On page 7 of 9 is the pre-K grant, moving funding around to maximize the spending of the pre-K grant. Page 8 of 9 is putting into current year's budget the new summer learning camps grant, and that is all of Fund 141.
need a motion to approve.
Make a motion.
Got a motion by Earl, second.
Second.
Second by Janet. Any discussion? Give me a roll call, please.
Earl Cox,
For.
Janet Holloway. Four. Larry Bud.
Or,
Becky Lindsay.
Four.
Jody Smith.
For.
Motion passes.
Page 9 is Fund 142, the federal programs. At the top of the page is the Perkins grant, moving money around to maximize the spending of that grant. On the bottom of the page is Fund 142 is at the top, and that has to be voted on separately from the bottom, which is 177.
need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Need a second?
Second.
No, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Earl Cox,
For.
Janet Holloway. Four. Larry Bud.
For,
Becky Lindsay.
Four.
Jody Smith.
For.
Motion passes.
Bottom of page 9 of 9 is Fund 177, the Education Capital Projects. Entering into that budget, Tennessee Risk Management Safety Grant, and also moving monies from fund balance into current year's budget for the high school paving, and moving the middle school paving amount until July.
need a motion, please.
Make a motion.
Second.
Second.
Second by Jody. Roll call. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Earl Cox,
For.
Janet Holloway.
Four.
Larry Bud.
Or,
Becky Lindsay.
Four.
Jody Smith.
For.
Motion passes.
all right. Is that all of it?
That's it. Yes.
Now we're ready for the mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'm going to use my time in my report this afternoon to talk about the American Rescue Plan. And this is money that we're receiving through the Biden administration, through the stimulus package, and Union County is going to receive $3.87 billion, and this will be deposited to the county. Actually, this month, we will receive $1.9 billion, which is half, and then next year, the same month, we will receive our other $1.9 billion allocation. So I do want to catch the Budget Committee up, and of course the public, on what I plan to do with these funds. And of course, when I say which of what I'm going to propose that we use for these funds, of course it has to be voted on. But when this first came out, my initial plan was to put broadband internet everywhere in Union County that I possibly could out of the, let's say, almost $4 million. Well, since that time, we have found out, which is just a blessing, it's amazing, KUB, Knoxville Utilities Board, is getting into the broadband business. So they are about to run fiber internet to every customer that has KUB. So that is literally just about every person here in Union County. Of course, Clinton Utilities Board is on the edge of the county over in Anderson County, the Anderson County side of Union County, forgive me. And I don't know that they're on board with it yet. But when KUB runs this will literally, folks, cover just about the entire county, because right now, Powell Valley Electric is running in Sharps Chapel. So every resident in Sharps Chapel that has Powell Valley Electric, which is literally every one of them, that's the only electric company over there, they will have access to fiber internet directly to their home. So KUB is doing the same thing. So if you have KUB, you will be able to get fiber internet at your home. And those of you that know about speed and things like that, KUB will offer 1 gig up and 1 gig down. And that is phenomenal when you look at speed. That's unbelievable for $54.99 a month. And the CEO of KUB told me this personally, because he had to put that into his plan to submit to the state. They are a public utility, so they have to go through several meetings and public approvals and things like that to pass this, what they're calling their 5th utility, which will be broadband internet. So, folks, it looks like right now that we're not gonna have to spend any money on fiber internet. I still, though, out of this 1.9 million, I still wanna keep $1 million just this year, keep $1 million back. Maybe to use to incentivize something with KUB, we'll talk to them and see, but also look at the folks over in the Anderson County area, because I don't wanna leave them out. This is the chance that we have to make sure literally every resident, folks, in Union County has broadband internet, and I wanna do that. This money that's coming from the federal government, it is very highly earmarked, but one of the big things is broadband and infrastructure. So again, broadband was my number one priority, okay? So KUB is taking care of that, and I'm actually going next week to speak to the KUB board. They have to have all these meetings, so I'm going to go speak to the board on behalf of Union County in favor of this. So I absolutely, folks, I'm going down there to say, let's get it run. You know, in Union County, we've been put out here on the back burner for many, many years, and it's time that we move on up, and that's what I'm going after. So, and the folks at KUB have promised me that Union County will not be the last one to get it, because they realize that we are incredibly underserved, us and Granger County, so they are trying to hit underserved areas, which is us. So here's something I want to throw out to you guys for possible projects. Now, honestly, I have to create an account, go in and claim the money, and then once we get the money, it goes to finance and we're ready to go. And it's just as simple as that, folks. I just have to claim the money. But what I want to talk to you guys about tonight, and I'm going to throw this out quick, I know we've got a budget to approve, but I want to leave $1 million just from this year's allocation, just for broadband, to look if we need to go over into Clinton Utilities, try to help over there, whatever we need to do. Now, keep in mind, that still leaves us $900,000 from this huge amount of money that we're getting just for this year that has to be spent on certain things. So I'm proposing, again, this money from the federal government, let's use this to help as many people in Union County as we can, as many folks. So I think broadband is number one. Number two, in my eyes, would be water and sewer to get out to folks, okay? So expand our water infrastructure to get water out to as many people as possible, okay? And keep in mind, and we can also hopefully use this money to help for some equipment for our fire departments and our rescue squads. Now, last night we had one of the best meetings I think we have had in years, just to be quite honest. We had the fire departments to come up, the rescue squad, and several of our commissioners came to that meeting, and we just talked and listened to each other and heard needs, and it was wonderful. It was absolutely fantastic. So, as we were talking today, with this money coming down, and still, folks, it's still so many questions about this money. You call and ask questions, and there's still, we don't know, we don't know, we don't know. That's what you keep hearing. But I actually called a guy with the comptroller's office today at the state and said, you know, hey, here's what's going on. You know, we need to fund our fire departments better and our rescue squads. And as they know, COVID, of course, has hit a lot of fundraising efforts for these fire departments. So my question was, instead of, I realize we can't just write them a check out of this. However, can we use some of this money to maybe buy all of them air packs or all of them turnout gear? I mean, look, folks, we've got $900,000 sitting here that we can use for something like that. So I have that question into them to say, hey, and Union County can do the bid. We can bid, let's say we bid 50 air packs, we bid 50 turnout gear, whatever. We accept the bid, we get it, we give it to the fire department. So I've got that question out right now to see if that is possible. So if we can do that, folks, again, that's grant money. That is not hitting 101 in any way. So that could be something that we want to look at. But even with that, let's say if we spend, heck, $400,000 on equipment for the fire and rescue, that still leaves us $500,000 that we can run some water to folks. And I've gotten with the city of Maynardville to ask, you know, what kind of projects do they have going on? And they have some CDBG projects going that will extend out into other areas of the county, in which they applied for a grant for. And of course, with all the materials and everything coming up, the grant came in way over budget. So I do want to ask Mr. Chesney, if you'll come on up, Mike, I want you to show the folks what areas you're looking at. And while he's making his way up, keep in mind, folks, counties are not in the water and sewer business. No county is. When you look at sewer and water, those are city business, city utilities, okay? So we can't run the water lines, but we can help the utilities that are. So of course you have the city of Maynardville, you have the city of Luttrell that has a utility department. I spoke with Mayor Lawson today about possibly helping them if this is approved money and you guys approve it, whatever, to help the city of Luttrell as well, which will also in turn help the city of Plainview. I'm going to reach out to them and see what their needs would be as far as utilities. But folks, keep in mind, even if we put all that money, 1 million aside for broadband, 900,000 aside for firefighters, rescue squads, and water and sewer, next year we still get another 1.9 billion for next fiscal year, okay? So we can do a lot with our first allocation. So again, just throwing that out, potential projects. But when Mike and I talked about this, he showed me a map that would show areas of the county that they're looking to expand. And of course, I know all the commissioners here want to help their districts, and you know, this spans out into several districts. So Mike, I'm gonna blow this up, and I'm gonna let you tell them, and I'm gonna try to get it as big as I can so folks can see. But I'll turn it over to you, my friend.
Well, thank you, and thanks everyone for having me again here tonight. I want to share with you a project that started 2 years ago, pre-COVID, pre-anything. It was a CDB project, and it serves 5 areas that are underserved or no service, all within Union County. This is something Jack Bryan started before I got here, and if you look at this map, and I brought my pointer, but it doesn't point on the screen. So you all know these roads better than I do.
I'll circle my mouse around what he's talking about.
If you look at area number 1, that is Circle Drive and AJ Lane. Area 2 is Walker Ford and Black Fox. And then if you come on over to the left, you'll see area 3 is Lambden Road. Area 4 is Hurricane Hollow and Autumn's Way. And number 5 is Malone Gap Road and Gilbert Lane. These 5 areas have no water. It represents all these 5 together represent 2.8 miles of plant. So far, 51 residents have signed up that want it. Now, when you build one of these, some of them change their mind and say, hey, I'll dig a well, but then others come out of the woodwork and it starts serving more people. And this is a great area to start in. So it's 2.8 miles, 51 have signed up. 2 years ago, we costed it out, and it costed out priced out, I should say, $575,000. That included about a $62,000 match, okay? So, left it alone, engineered, it's in there cooking and getting approved. Well, it got approved, sent to us and said, okay, go to bid. So we go to bid. 2 weeks ago, we had 2 bidders that came to City Hall to open up the bids, and we opened them up, and I almost had a heart attack. The $575,000 cost was now $800,000. Now you ask yourself, why is that? Well, I know you all have been to Lowe's, and you've seen a 2x4, it used to be $2, is now $10. That's affected everything. In stagnation and inflation, it is too many dollars chasing too few goods. And I won't get off on a lecture on that, but basically all the stimulus money that has been coming to individuals, to the towns, to the cities, has put so much cash in the economy that it has created a upside down economy, and costs have just gone through the roof. So now it's $800,000, $799 and change. That is totally out of our scope. Maynardville will have to abandon this project. And you say, well, why can't you cut back 1 or 2 of these areas and make it cheaper and fit into the scope of what we can do now? Not that easy. It is houses and households, and they mix and match. You just can't take a piece of one pie and still save the rest of the pie. This is all part of one unit, and so that's very difficult to do. We still want to go back to Brixie Carlton just to see if she has any creative ideas or any other leftover dollars on the table. Hey, we'll take them if she does. I don't think that's possible. I really don't. And that's about the only alternative. The other downside of this is that it's the time pressure. Once the bids are released, you have a 60-day period in order to accept them, and the contractor's knocking on your door. Do I get it? Do I get it? Do I get it? And they're ready to go. And so we're now pretty much at the end of that. And so if the county wants to do $290,000 and just get this, our budget will not be as stretched. This is something you'll do for water for the people. And I understand if you don't, because you're rushed into this, because we got to let them know this week. I mean, you were either going to do it or we're not. and I can scrap it for another couple of years and then refile for another CDBG, and not do this. Or if you want to do it, unfortunately, you got to think about it pretty quick and vote on it and tell me what you want, because I'm really out of choices. This is an unusual situation. You've got high cost, demand, supply, all going at the same time, and it creates sort of an upside down economy. Now, before you decide one way or the other, I believe in being very transparent. And when you're in finance, they teach you to be forward thinking and look behind the veil of anything that may be out there. If you, and this may or may occur, may or may not even happen, but I want you to know. You remember, you all were so generous in helping us with the ARC about a month ago. Refresh your memory. $600,000, $300,000 of it was I&I to correct the sewer problems. The other $300,000 was to do the sewer pump for the Highway 33. And you put in a $45,000 match, we put in a $90,000, and HLG did $45,000. Everybody remember that? Okay. We think those costs are good, but my fear is that when August comes and the bids are open, I'm going to have the same problem. Is it going to be $600,000 or is it going to be $900,000? And then I got to either say I cut out the I&I and do the sewer pumps because you all gave a match, HLG gave a match. Can I do that? Until I see the numbers, I don't know. So can we do that? Or do I come back and say, can you make us whole? Whatever that number may be. And so if you're playing with 900 right now, I just want to be very transparent. If you do this, then in August, do I come back if I need it, or do I try to adjust? And I will try to adjust. I don't want to ask for something that we shouldn't get. But again, these are very tenuous times. And so, or you say, Mike, we're just not going to do this, scrap it, come back to us in August if you need us, and we'll maybe help you out on the the ARC project. That's the choices that you have. Or you could do both if you want to. If there is a both, you may only have this because in August, maybe things will have settled down a bit and the contractors won't be as aggressive as they are right now in their pricing. They're seeing an opportunity. And it's happening everywhere. If you're trying to build a house, you're going to see that. And so I just want to be very transparent here on what you may or may not want to do.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, I'm really kind of.
Let me throw this out too, guys. If this is something, I mean, as long as, we have to have full county commission approval, of course, to do anything like this. So this is something that we can look at, we can discuss. Of course, we can't, you guys can't make it official, county commission has to. So commission's coming up Monday. This can be presented in the form of, we don't have the money yet. So the money will have to come in, be put into the budget, and then allocated. So this could be, and if I'm correct, in the form of a budget amendment, just to say, hey, we're going to get 1.9 billion, we're allocating so much to the city, so much for fire, if we can use it for that, so much for broadband. And that can be done at the county commission meeting if that's something you guys want to entertain. So I don't want to ask anybody to vote on anything tonight, because again, it has to go to full commission anyway. This is just to throw out, here's what we can do with this money. And again, folks, I want to use it to benefit the people. I do, that's what I want to do. So broadband, water, whatever we can do, fire to help our folks, that's what I want to do. So with that being said, you guys can see what areas on the map that are going to be covered. I can get you a copy of the map, I can send that to county commission as well before we meet. But that's what we can do.
And there's lots to think about moving down. You know, sewer's involved too. You've got Beard Valley out there that has water, but they don't have sewer. They really want sewer. Well, that connects the sewer line with the sewer plant and what needs to be done down there. It's all links in the chain. But I want to say this, and I said this to Jason when I came in here. I'm kind of out of my wheelhouse. I'm not real good at this part of it. And that is, I don't want this board or commission or anybody I know in here thinking that here he comes again with his hand out. Here's the city needing something, they got their hand out again. That is not the case. Believe me, that is not the case. I'm just not good at that. What I'm just saying is we have an economic upside down consequence here of opportunity, cost, and risk. That we can do nothing, we can do something, we can do everything, or nothing at all.
We didn't have to have an answer, did you say?
Well, on this, probably you're gonna vote tomorrow night?
Monday, it's coming Monday, full
That's it.
commission.
We need to know Monday if you want to do the 290 on that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I'll need to tell them, and either, if you don't, 99.9% chance I'm just gonna go, hey, guys, fiduciary responsibility, I can't afford that, we'll just not do it and knock that off. And then probably not do anything. And then if I have to come back in August and say, guys, I'm X amount of short, can you help us out on that on the ARC? That may not happen. It all depends when you open those bids up.
And let me
Mike,
jump
I
in
got a
again.
question.
Yeah,
Do you think maybe 3 or 4, 5 months, things get cheaper?
no,
You know?
no. I'm hoping they
They're
do,
not
Larry.
projecting it for 2 years.
Yeah. Wow. I think you're gonna see a trailing effect, and I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better. And until you see a disruption of the supply chain and the demand chain coming, I think we've got to be very conservative. The budgets in Maynardville are very, very stretched. The resources, the people are, it is, and you are too. We're very stretched with people and resources right now that I'm being very, very cautious on anything that I take on. If I can't take it on, I don't take it on. I'm going to do it well and do it right the first time. And I'm stepping things out as I go, but I've got an awful lot going, just like you do.
Thank you.
So I'll shut it. I'm sorry. I get rolling.
So 50-something people has already said they wanted to.
51 have signed up and said yes. Historically, it usually comes out more, but then some of them will move and back off, some of them will dig a well. You don't really know. That's who signed up so far.
And keep in mind, if we don't partner with a city that's already has a grant or something like that, we can't afford to run water lines, period. So, I mean, that's the thing, if we're gonna try to get the water out, that's what we have to do. We're gonna have to partner with the cities to get it done. So again, folks, this is something I'll bring up as a budget amendment, new business at the county commission meeting, but that's what we're projecting to do with it, or proposing to do with it rather, so. Any questions for Mike? All right.
Thank you.
All right, that's all I have.
All right.
Mayor's report.
And under new business, there'll be a special call meeting Monday, June the 28th at 6 o'clock here at the courthouse it's going to be for just end of year budget amendments and transfers like that. That's a special call meeting.
Yes, sir, and what we're proposing to do, folks, instead of having our normal budget budget committee meeting in June, which would be the third Tuesday, we're just gonna have it at 6 o'clock before the county commission meeting, because all we'll be doing is just approving some amendments, and that's it. So we're canceling the one, but calling this one.
Cancel what day was the regular meeting on June,
What would that be in?
June the 26th? What was the regular meeting? Do anybody know?
The budget meeting?
It would have been June,
Tuesday before that.
it would have been June,
22nd.
They said the same.
All right, we don't have a
Yes.
meeting on June the 22nd, it'll be on June the 28th.
Yes, sir.
At 6 o'clock. All right. Jimmy Carter,
Yes.
you're up. Well, get down
So
on
if I fall,
I would hate for you to fall. I would- Oh, yeah.
I would see it on YouTube.
Some of it,
Our budget, and if at any point that you want to jump in here, and I don't know if you want to start with the fund balance page, but
Will you turn your mic on, Dr. Carter, just hit that button until it turns green, thanks, sir.
really contact it on your lunch.
Yeah, yes,
We will move the maximum amount of,
The minimum.
the minimum amount, it seems like that changes. The minimum amount of fund balance, we will maintain and move to, the remainder will move to capital projects. So that's what the first page is speaking of. Maybe issue a description of each of our different funds and the fund balance and each one of those.
And folks in the audience, I'm not going to scroll through this because it's pages and pages and pages of numbers, but this first page right here will tell him each fund. But that's the thing, so we're gonna vote on each fund, so 141. And Dr. Carter, you're presenting a balanced budget in 141, is that correct?
That is correct.
Everything's good, so.
So do you want me to go through the pages or
Well-
just kind of give an overview? How do you want me to do this?
Mr. Chairman,
Do you want him to go overview of all of it, or, no, I don't think we do, because it's a balanced budget.
Well, really, suffice to say, is that the majority of the increase in our budget is we increased the teacher's salary, the beginning salary from 37,000 to 40,000. So each line in our teacher's salary will go up at a minimum of $3,000. So every certified employee will receive at least a $3,000 pay raise for next year.
But the tax rate is the same as last year.
The tax rate, I don't do the tax rate.
yeah.
That's what budget.
No, I'm saying I don't have anything to do with that, but no, we're not asking for any.
No, good. That's what I was asking.
So what your budget is the same?
Balanced.
It's balanced.
No new money.
No.
So if you guys, normally the way we do this. is
We're just gonna vote on Fund 141 first, and then 142, 43, 44.
So 141, the majority of the increase, and then our DEP and pretty much funds, and along with all the tax revenue on the local side, will fund our entire budget.
Okay. 141 is like.
141 is our operating budget, where our teachers are paid, except for those that are paid on.
I'm not how many pages you do. Yeah. It goes to, 141 goes to page 17 of 28. 17 pages in at the end of the total estimated expenditures for this year is $25,754,000. No, $25,754,480, right?
Well, and yes, but that will increase because.
Oh, I know, yeah, I know,
Our
year to
grants,
year.
we don't factor our grants into this,
Yeah.
so, separate, like the pre-K grant, coordinated school, and that's pretty much money in, money out, so.
Well, you always come up here and do the bidding, so.
Right,
Yeah.
we put those.
County
in.
Commission has to approve it too. And the revenue is $27,323,348.
Mhm. That's correct.
Need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Got a motion by Jody, a second by James. I got it first. Any discussion? Give me a roll call, please.
Earl Cox,
Four.
Janet Holloway,
Four.
Larry Bud,
Four.
Becky Menke,
Four.
Joe Smith,
Four.
motion passes.
Okay, our 142 is our federal programs, so that's, our federal programs along with IDEA or special ed. Both of those are federal grants, and Ronnie does a much better job of explaining those than I do, the increases, the decreases. But this is the grant money that we receive from the federal government to operate on, and we budget those figures accordingly. He doesn't have definite amounts yet. Sometimes it's up August, September, October before we get our final allocations, but this is the preliminary numbers on 142 and the budget that goes with that.
Okay, the last page is on 24, page 24 to 28. And the fund balance is $312,899. No, it's in 2022. And you can see the expenditures there. I can read them off, or you can read them good as I can. I need a motion to approve this too.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Becky, second by Earl. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Earl Cox,
Four.
Janet Holloway, Larry Bud,
Four.
Becky Menke, Joe Smith, motion passes.
143 is food services. Food services for the last several years has run an abundance, but because of COVID this year, she was hit harder because we didn't cut staff, but we did cut the amount of food that we serve. And our money is made from the food that we serve. So it's like keeping a restaurant open and keeping all your staff, but not sell about 80% of what you would normally sell. So your expenditures are the same, but your revenue is less. And she too presents a balanced budget in the fact that she's staying within those funds. So
That's great. It's been a tough year for everybody. If anybody wants to see this budget, they can get copies from Ann or anybody in the audience or any person can always look at the budget. I need a motion to approve
I'll make a
this.
motion to approve.
Motion by Janet, second. Second, Burl. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Earl Cox,
Four.
Janet Holloway,
Four.
Larry Bud,
Four.
Becky Muncy. Jody Smith. Motion passes.
Our Fund 145 is our virtual school. So this is the BED funds that school generates, plus 8% that comes to the school district for oversight.
Need a,
Someone.
got a motion by. Need a second.
Second.
Second by Becky. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Earl Cox,
Four.
Janet Holloway, Larry Bud,
Four.
Becky Muncy.
Four.
Jody Smith. Motion passes.
Our 177 funds are capital projects fund, which is a moving target because of ESSER funds, what ESSER is allowed or not allowing. So if we're allowed to use some funds to build a building, we're going to do that. If we're not, we'll shift those around. But we try to keep our capital projects right around $1 million. So the improvements we have, mainly paving, roofing, those type of things, we try to keep within the budget of $1 million, which we did.
You did. Need a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Motion by Earl, second.
Second.
Second by Janet. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Earl Cox,
Four.
Janet Holloway, Larry Bud,
Four.
Becky Muncy. Jody Smith. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy.
I want to thank Jimmy and Ann Dyer, the mayor too. They worked on this budget for, I'm sure, a long time. I was down there today and they're still working on it, so they done a good job. Okay, next, is any old business? Old business, I guess, is the budget for Union County. First on the agenda is Fund 101, General Fund.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Folks, I present to you tonight and it's not a balanced budget for Fund 101. We are actually short $331,187, but however, we have we have ways that we can balance the budget, okay? But I'm gonna go through this real quick and then I'm gonna show you what we can do. Just to let you guys know the increases, I do wanna remind everyone of this. Keep in mind your contributions are going up simply because the dog park grant that we received several years ago, we decided not to use that. So that money now can be sent to the Humane Society essentially, and that's what we're doing. So that when you see an increase in that, that's because we're getting rid of those grant funds, okay? Also, the increases, we have an increase of revenue from hotel motel tax, and the Historical Society asked for an additional $1,000 above what they were allocated last year. Fire prevention, under that fund, we have an increase of $13,500. This is a request of, I believe it was $10,000 for the city of Maynardville, and Northeast Union asked for additional $3,500. Next, you have the sheriff. And let me explain what's going on with the sheriff's comp time. I'll explain again. And the sheriff's here if you guys have any questions about this, but essentially, Ann and the sheriff looked at what their comp time value would be for his officers, and what I mean by that is if we had to pay out today all of the officers who had comp time with the sheriff's department, that would be around $106,000 to pay that out. And if you look, that's the sheriff's department. If you look at the jail, that's another $28,000, okay? So what we propose to do in the budget this year is to put essentially that amount, which is around $130,000, into the sheriff's line to take care of comp time, essentially. And Sheriff can explain this a little bit better than me, because I get it mixed up sometimes, but essentially, what the officers have in comp time right now, we're not taking away, we can't take away, it's their earned time, we are going to honor that. But with this new budget, the sheriff is going to allow his employees to bank 200 hours of comp time, is that correct, Sheriff? 200 hours of comp time only. Any hour over the 200 hours will then be paid as overtime. As we go on, this will essentially limit the liability that we have of our overtime budget and get this taken down. Again, the sheriff can explain this a little bit more in detail when we get to his line, but basically that's what we're doing. And I do want to make very, very clear to all the officers, jailers, whoever, we are not taking away comp time, period. We're not taking it away, folks. We can't take it away. All we're trying to do is to limit the liability that we have on our budget. For instance, if half of Billy's department decided to leave, we have to pay them out, folks. So we need the money there to pay them out and turn around and hire new folks. Right now, if he had, 10 officers leave, he can't hire until we pay those folks out. So this is almost a safety net. We need to have this in there. So again, if you have any additional questions, the sheriff will be happy to answer those in a little bit. Also, $25,000 that will be increasing in the line, the food line in the jail. Food line. The food line in the jail to feed the inmates. You had the library board is also requesting, basically their MOU from last year is, or MOE, I'm sorry, maintenance of effort is $192,000. They're asking for $208,000 this year. This will be a 19 to 23% increase for the librarian salaries. Also, the property assessor is preparing for a reappraisal next year. He has had to increase his budget by $10,400. Agriculture extension went up a little bit, but that's because we have to honor what the state of Tennessee pays. So you can see right here, basically 101 budget. All the other budgets look great. They're balanced, ready to go. 101 is short $330,000, okay? So give me just a second, folks, and I'll show you what we can do to fix that. I made some notes just so I don't forget anything, and I can just go down the list here.
Well, let me ask you something else. I know the library's asking for $6,000. What was the rest of the county performance rate this year?
The raise this year was the cost of living raise at 1.2%.
Anybody else asked for a bigger raise than?
Not that I know of, and no, all elected officials just accepted the 1.2% raise for their.
I did ask on my employees.
Yes, you moved monies around within your budget.
Yeah, the money's in the budget, there's no new money, but I did ask for a 3% raise for my youth services officer, and I'll get to that when we get on, and my assistant youth services officer, because of the fact of what the new rules of juvenile procedure are requiring them to do, that money was going to be transferred from what we already have in detention. We've been very conservative on it. It's no new money. And when you look at, I'm not asking for a cost of living increase for them, so you're talking about like 1.8% is really truly what it would be. And my administrative assistant, I'm not asking anything for them because their duties did not change. My other two changed tremendously, and that's so, but it's no new money.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge. All right, so here's what we can do, folks. Now, let me make sure you understand this, okay? Well, 101 is short $331,000 with everything that has been requested, okay? This is everything that everyone has asked for. We are short $331,000. Now, keep in mind, you can still go back through the budget and make cuts if you need to lessen that $331,000, but this is for everything that was asked for. All right, according to our fund balance policy, we have to move $615,000 has to be transferred to 171 capital projects, okay? These funds can be used to balance 101. So essentially what I'm trying to say, folks, is we're short on our budget $330,000, but we're about to transfer $615,000 into capital projects. We simply use those funds to balance the budget, which still leaves us $284,000 that will go to capital. So that will balance our budget completely, which still leaves us almost $300,000 going to capital. Now, I also want to add this in, folks. Keep in mind, each year, and I want to brag on our county, each year we have an average of $500,000 of unspent funds in our budget. So basically, those funds transfer into fund balance. So keep in mind, this year alone, $500,000, let's say, around about, that we will not use for our budget, plus what we're transferring, that was $1.1 million, folks, that we're gonna be able to put either into capital or will go into fund balance. So again, what we can do, this is, again, if you accept all of the requests, we simply move this money into capital, take what we need to balance, and our budget is balanced. So, that is with 101, okay? So what we can do now, Mr. Chairman, it's up to you, tell me what you want to do, if you want to go.
I want to know what this committee wants to do. You just want to go down through here and look at each line item? Or do you want to? I think, this is mine, I think all county employees ought to get the same raise. I know the library asked for a big raise, but I think all county, Darrell transferred his money around his budget to make his. And I think all county employees ought to get the same percentage raise. That's my opinion.
The only other one that I had an issue with, given the historical society more, which we're already short, I think we ought.
That's what in it. Is that in the general fund?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
At a minimum, leave them.
Give them what we get last year.
I believe last year was 6 and they asked for 7 this year, so.
Okay. Okay.
Is that right, Ian?
7 and 8.
7, yeah.
You got any more?
What's that?
Any more?
Historical Society, 50.
They asked for that.
They asked for $1,000.
I thought we cut that last year.
No.
No, you guys fully funded them last year.
No,
Well, I'm gonna ask for a motion to set all the salaries at the 1.3,
2.
1.2, everybody's salary in the county the same. Darrell's got his transfer, his will be just like this.
He moved around.
Darrell's not asking for any.
No,
But you all are okay with doing what mine would be just for the transfer on it?
we are so far.
I understand.
I ain't got a second, I ain't got a motion yet, Darrell.
I understand.
I need to ask for a motion for that.
All employees.
Yeah. To get the 1.2 raise.
I'll make it.
I got a motion, need a second? Second. Give me a roll call.
I'm sorry.
Any discussion?
Are you talking on elected official, elected?
No, elected, we can't do nothing with elected officials, theirs is set with the state.
The elected
We,
officials.
I've got a question with that.
Well,
Well,
elected
we'll
officials
go
got
back there in a minute.
no increase this year. No elected official got an increase.
No elected official, okay. You got any more questions? Give me a roll call.
I'm fine.
She's correct.
I'm sorry, just a second.
Jody.
Let me add this, Mr. Chairman. This will be a motion, you guys will vote on, basically all county employees will receive the 1.2% raise. And then but we also need to go back and approve the budget, approve
Yeah.
101 with that amendment.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right. Is that okay to do it that way, or do we approve that?
You have to say with the exception of Darrell, because he's increasing his 3%, you know.
Well,
Okay, that's true.
yeah.
You might need to do that separate, so you've got, I'm asking for no new money anywhere.
He just readjusted.
Except just that adjustment, but you probably need to have it on your record to say, because.
We'll take that.
You
We'll
know,
do that
that's
second.
affected differently.
We can do that in another motion, if that committee wants to do that. I've got a motion and a second. You ready for roll call?
Yes. Roll call.
Or,
Janet Holloway.
Four.
Larry Bud.
For.
Becky Muncy.
Four.
Jody Smith.
Four.
Motion passes.
All right, now the next one was Jody's on the historical side.
Mr. Chairman, you entertain a motion?
Yeah,
I make a motion that we do not increase the historical society.
the $1,000. I got a motion. Anybody want to make a second?
I'll second it.
Second to Janet Holloway. Any discussion? Give me a roll call.
Earl Cox.
no.
Janet Holloway.
Four.
Larry Bud.
For.
Becky Muncy.
Four.
Jody Smith.
Four.
Motion passes.
All right, now we need to go back to Darrell's. What kind of motion we need on that again?
You want me to present mine to do that?
No, I don't think so.
No, I think
All we need to do is just make a motion.
just make a motion to accept Darrell's budget as presented.
I need a motion to accept Mr. Edmison's budget as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Janet, second by Earl. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Earl Cox.
Four.
Janet Holloway. Larry Bud.
Four.
Becky Mason. Joey Smith. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Anybody else, we got anything on here, question? Comment? All right.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I was gonna say if no questions, we're ready to approve 101.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Okay.
fixing to ask.
Okay.
Need a motion to approve county general fund 101 with no property tax. Got a motion, but
Mr. Chairman, would you add into that, with, of
With the
course,
amendments.
yes, with the revisions, yes, thank you, Judge.
You got it. Need a second?
Second.
Second to Janet. Any more discussion? Give me a roll call.
Earl Cox.
Four.
Janet Holloway. Larry Bud.
Four.
Becky Munson. Joey Smith.
Four.
Motion passes.
All right, ambulance service.
Fund 118 is EMS. Andrew, would you just like me to go through it, or are you okay with that? Mr. Reed is here if you guys have any questions, but Andrew comes to you with a balanced budget, ready to go.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We got a motion, need a second.
Second.
Second by Becky. Any discussion? Give me a roll call.
Earl Cox.
Four.
Janet Holloway. Larry Bud.
Four.
Becky Munson. Joey Smith. Motion passes.
All right, number 3, fund 122 drug fund.
Yes, sir. The drug fund is, you're going to see that it shows a decline in the drug fund, but that's simply just with the money that comes in that goes right back out. So it's not a big deal. It is what it is. So,
We do a lot of budget amendments on that at the end of the year, so. Drug, the money comes in, we add it to it.
yes, sir.
Need a motion to approve. Got a motion, but Joe, you need a second? I'll second it. I reckon I can. Any more discussion over drug fund? Give me a roll call.
Earl Cox.
Four.
Janet Holloway. Larry Bud.
Four.
Becky Munson. Joey Smith.
Four.
Motion passes.
Okay, 131 highway department, no property tax increase in it.
No, Mr. Cox comes to you with a balanced budget as well, Mr. Chairman.
All right, need a motion to approve.
Make the motion.
Motion by Earl Cox, second. Second by Janet. Any discussion? Give me a roll call, please.
Earl Cox.
Four.
Janet Holloway. Larry Bud.
Four.
Becky Munson. Joey Smith.
Four.
Motion passes.
151, debt service.
Debt service, if you guys remember, we actually paid a loan off in debt service, which basically means that the county general is debt-free right now, which is amazing, and let me explain that. When you say debt-free, keep in mind, we still owe for Pollitt Elementary, but that is paid for by the wheel tax. Also, the school system still owes for their energy reduction bonds, which replaced all the lighting in the schools, which they pay for that. So when you look at 101, what comes from county general, 101, we're debt-free, zero. So if you have direct questions about debt service and the transfers, Ms. Hand, I would be happy to answer that for you, but essentially you can see all the money that's being transferred out into fund balance, whatever our policy requires it to be. So that's just basically putting debt service where it needs to be, and folks, we have no debt. And that's wonderful.
That's just great. And all that's going to be paid?
2026, we owe about $3 million.
And it will be debt free, unless the borrows something. Need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Second, Becky. Motion, Janet. Any discussion on this anymore? Give me a roll call, please.
Earl Cox.
Four.
Janet Holloway. Larry Bud.
Four.
Becky Munson. Joey Smith.
Four.
Motion passes.
Capital projects.
All right, Fund 171, as you can see, that's basically when money is transferred from our budget, if you will, into capital. That money just goes up, it goes down. The capital projects are what we put aside to do big things, if you will, for the year. So essentially, this is just showing you what's in the capital line, and there's really no balancing that budget. It's just ready to go.
All right,
Motion to approve.
motion approved by Janet, need a second.
Second.
Second by Becky. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Earl Cox.
For.
Janet Holloway.
Four.
Larry Bud.
Four.
Becky Muncy.
Four.
Jody Smith.
Four.
Motion passes.
Number 7 is Fund 172, is Development Fund, Community Development Fund.
And Mr. Chairman, this fund was set aside several years ago as industrial development. When I took office, this was a fund that we had about $75,000 in. When we sold the property in Luttrell to Mr. Meek, that money went into the industrial fund to fund the farmer's market. So you can see we had a fund balance of $121,000, and it's just showing what your estimated fund balance will be for FY22. And basically that, again, that budget is what it is. We had the money here, we put in, we took out, there's your budget.
All right.
Make a motion.
We've got a motion by Earl, second. Second by Jody. You gotta overlook me, I've got a bad cold, so it's a little slow taking medicine for it, but it anyway. Give me a roll call.
Earl Cox. Janet Holloway.
Four.
Larry Bud.
Four.
Becky Muncy.
Four.
Jody Smith.
Four.
Motion passes.
I don't see nothing else in here, it looked to me like, you got anything else to say, Mayor?
Well, just that, keep in mind, folks, this is a recommendation of the budget that goes to county commission. County commission will approve or disapprove the budget. I'm sorry, let me back up. No, they will not. What we do is the budget committee now has approved everything. This is recommended to county commission. This coming Monday night. They have 1 month to review. They come back in June and vote on the budget to approve everything in June. So June will be the final meeting to approve everything. And keep in mind, in June, we're not going to have a budget committee meeting. It will simply be right before county commission. And what we have done in the past historically is not have a commission meeting in July because simply there's just not a lot going on. There's no budget amendments, anything, and a lot of folks are out for vacation anyway. So that's our plan this year. So again, presented Monday. They have a month to talk about it. Approve or disapprove in June.
All right, and I believe they took a mask off today too, didn't they, Judge? You don't have to wear a mask in the courthouse unless you prefer. I need a motion to adjourn.
I would just say I'll make that motion.
Got it, Jody. Second, Janet. All in favor, say aye. We're gone.